Good morning, Saturday the 19th of April 2014. Welcome along, it's United Kingdom Talk. Do you know, it's been a bit of a mad rush this morning. I didn't get up till late. Usually I'm up, no matter what time I finish work at night, by about 9 o'clock in the morning. And this morning, I like to be up by 10, because I have to take pills at 10 o'clock every morning. Right? I take pills every morning at 10 o'clock. And I prized my eyes open. Oh, I was tired last night. I pried my eyes open this morning, and I looked over at the little little green LED glowing in the corner of my newly decorated bedroom, and it was 10:45. And 45 minutes late for my pills. I mean, I was practically at death's door this morning, boys and girls. I'm kept alive by the use of scientists and their chemicals. I really am. And oh my God, another 2 minutes and I would have been dead. I wouldn't have been here today. But you wouldn't have noticed, would you? No one would have noticed. These people that sort of ring me up, once in a blue moon. It'll be months. I think when I die, it will be... the body was found 4 years later behind a locked door. No one would notice that I've disappeared. It's true. I nearly died this morning. Anyway, so I managed to get out of the bed and I quickly came in because it's more important to turn on the computers than take my pills. Do you know what I mean? So I rushed into the studio and turned on all the computers because they do take a little while to kind of warm up. Certainly the main computer I have to turn it on and then leave it for about, not quite 10 minutes, I would say longer than 5, about 7 minutes before you start doing things. If I switch it on and then type in the password, which is, you don't think I'm going to tell you that, do you? Hackers are watching this program as we speak, boy. Hackers are watching. They are watching this program as I speak. They are hoping one day to hack into this program and take over the work. That's why I always lock my door downstairs. Oh yes, when I'm doing a show, I lock all my doors downstairs in case, religious extremists break into the house, come up the stairs, and they got a gun at my head and they take over the show. In the hope of spreading their message to the millions and millions of people that are tuning in every Saturday morning or every Saturday afternoon. I'm very worried about that. So the cat is on the door. She's standing guard on the door. They won't get past her. Ha! You're joking, aren't you? You've seen the cat on my many videos. She makes she's not made so many appearances recently. I think didn't she make one the other week? Yes, when we were doing the potatoes. Those of you that watch the short daily videos, there is a little daily video every day, which you can find at youtube.com/Chris Reardon UK. A little video every day of the week, near enough every day, unless I'm falling vastly behind with my activities for the day. There is a little video every day, and you can find that at youtube.com/Chris Reardon UK. Yes, Katie the cat was in the potato videos, but she sits down when I'm doing this live show. That's why she's not up here. When I'm doing this live show, she is sitting downstairs at that cat flap downstairs, observing people go past. Don't you ever put a little finger in to try and stroke her. She'll have that off your hand. She will have that off your hand. Anyway, so back to the story. So I managed to get out of bed, turned on all the computers, come downstairs, put the kettle on, and then took my pills. 52 minutes late. It's not funny. 52 minutes late. And I think the pills are now in my system, and I just a minute, let me check my pulse. Yes, I'm still alive, only just, still alive. Okay, so I had my breakfast, had my tea, started scribbling a few bits and pieces down. Here's the show today, all right, on a little notebook, there it is. Look, there's the show today. There's loads on there, isn't there? And we will never get through, like, there's two little they're only little note-sized pages. Those of you just listening, they're not A4 pieces of paper. They're like, small little notebook, like a policeman would have. I'm feeling, do you know, I might quite like to do that job. You know that job where you're not a policeman, but you are, and you walk around telling people things. They've got blue badges. I'm not quite sure what they're called. Anyone know? Terry, you know that, because he's always in trouble with the police, aren't you, Terry? Terry in Leeds. He's with us this morning. Good morning, Terry. I'll come to you in a minute. And good morning, Daniel. They've both sent messages in so far. No one else has bothered. I mean, I might as well be sitting here on my own, to be honest. There's a birthday as well coming up. It's all happening today. I'd quite like to do one of those policemen. I'd like to be, you know, I've been looking for an app for my iPhone for a speeding camera. So that when I'm going around the quiet roads of Bracknell and I see a car come tearing towards me, I can just hold up my phone like that and it will tell me how fast to go and quickly take a snapshot and send it to the authorities. I'm the sort of person that would like to do that, you know. You don't want me as a neighbour. Really. If I see you move your fence or something like that, I'm straight on the phone to the council. Oh, yes, dear. Can we get back to the story, please? So I've had my breakfast and I've come up here. I've turned everything on. I've got a few web pages up there. I've done the adverts on the Facebook. I don't know. Is anyone watching this morning just because they saw the thing on Facebook? I'm interested in that. Oh, yes, someone is. Jamie. Good morning, Jamie. Now, are you in Italy? I think you're in Italy. Just a moment. Let me check. Milano. It's in Milan, in Italy. Fashion capital of the entire world. Forget London. Forget Paris. It's Milan. Jamie's with us in Milan this morning. Good morning, Jamie. Ciao. Ciao, bella. They're the only words I know. Ciao Bella and Pope Francis is the only Italian I know, I'm afraid, Jamie. Okay, so I've come upstairs, done the adverts on Facebook, got my bits of paper ready, got a few web pages up because there's a few news items that I might want to do later on, turned on the Skype, got the music running and gone on air at about 25 past 11 with the warm-up music. We have warm-up music. Have you ever heard that? Yep, that's usually on between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. And usually before that there is like a tone, right, just to test everything out. Here is the tone. Oh no, that's not the wrong one. Where is it? There it is. Here it is. Okay, that is the tone. That usually on there for about half an hour before we start. And then what was it? It was in about 1:45, and then one of the computers decides it wants to do an update, you know, a Windows update. So I did that. Rushed into the bathroom, brushed my teeth. I thought, oh, that water's a bit cold, and I wanted to have a shave because I haven't had a shave for a couple of days. So I boiled a kettle because I don't turn the heating. I don't like to use the gas. Okay, so the heating hasn't been on for weeks now, right? It gets a bit chilly at night, but you know, I get in late at night. I turn the electric blanket on for half an hour. Lovely, lovely, and I get into bed, and that's it, all warm and cosy. But I don't like to use the hot water either. I really don't. You know, I've got an old-fashioned boiler. Now, Daniel, who's with us this morning, is a bit of a plumber. He knows about these things. So I've got this old-fashioned boiler, which is about 15 and 16 years old. But I don't use it much, right? But when I turn it on, it will heat up an entire tank of hot water. Now, in my mind, and you'll tell me if I'm right or wrong here, Daniel, if I'm heating an entire tank of hot water, I don't want to just be having a quick shave or using a little bit, you know, to wash up 2 cups. That's a dreadful waste of energy. So what I do now is I boil a kettle of water. If I'm going to have a shave, no, incorrect. I heat up a kettle of water. I don't take it to boiling. I heat up a kettle of water. I bring that upstairs, pour it in the sink, mix it with a bit of cold if it's too hot, and have my shave. And similarly, when I brush my teeth, I've got very sensitive teeth, okay? So I brush them with warm water. Again, I put the kettle on downstairs with about a cup's worth of water in it. Turn the on button on, and you need about 20 seconds. That's all. Turn it on for 20 seconds. Bring it up. I've got this energy saving the thing down to a T, my dear. Don't you worry. Do you think N-Power are going to get a single penny more out of me than is absolutely necessary? I don't think so, dear. I really don't think so. Thieving bastards, all of them. The energy companies. I've been looking actually to switch. I gather I can switch to either, what are the names? First Utility or OVO Energy. One of those two. I'll save about 180 quid a year, so I'm probably going to do that at some point. So I bring that water upstairs and brush my teeth with that. Now, that's got to be cheaper than in heating an entire tank of water, using it for, a few, I don't know, a couple of kettle loads out of a full tank, and then the rest is just sitting there. So you've heated it up and it's wasted. It's got to be cheaper to do that, isn't it? Daniel said the other day, perhaps I should just consider one of those combination boilers. They're the ones that just heat the water as it comes out. But then, of course, you've got the cost of replacing the blooming boiler. I don't know, somewhere between £2,000 and £3,000. So it's just not, you've got to get that money back again, haven't you? So I think the way I'm doing it is probably the best way to do it. And Daniel will come back to us with the information. Won't you, Daniel? Terry says, come to British Gas. You must be joking. British Gas? Do you know what a bad name they've got? I'm sure the engineers are fantastic in that, Terry. But they're greedy bastards. They're the worst ones of the lot. When it comes to putting your bills up and all this business. I saw a story in Daily Mail. Let me see if I can find this for you. Daily Mail. British Gas. British Gas. Now, does it say anything here? Here we are. Got it. I found it immediately. Oh, look. I'm quite good. I'm not very good at finding search things. I type in things to search and nothing comes up. Don't know about that. It says, tell me what you think about this, Terry. British Gas staff, this was in the Daily Mail, I think Thursday or Friday, paid bonuses, tripling their £25,000 salaries if they inflate customers' bills by 60% by targeting charities and small businesses. Okay, the headlines here. Whistleblower, this is in the Daily Mail, as I say. Whistleblower revealed staff are encouraged to sell most expensive deals. Employers told they can triple £25,000 salaries through commission. Well, I'll be honest, £25,000 as a wage here in the UK isn't that much. It's not that good. It really is. Certainly, if you couldn't live on £25,000 in London. You really couldn't. It goes on. Churches and charities, including the Scouts, Cubs, be your best. We will be Kayla. We will be. I was in the Cubs. I loved it. At the time I didn't. I won't lie. I didn't quite like it at first, but now I look back. My time in the Scouts and the Cubs were possibly the best times of my life so far. That and talking to you, of course, boys and girls. It carries on. Some organisations have ended up £2,000 a year worse as a result. Words volume to value written on walls of companies' call centre. On all the walls. Energy regulator Ofcom vowed to take firm action if it finds British Gas has not been honest and transparent with its customers. And it says British Gas say they strongly refute any inappropriate negotiations. So there's an interesting thing in the Daily Mail there. Terry says, I know the story you're on about. They don't give them. He says they don't give them commission, so I don't know. This is the sales bit. What are you, Terry? Are you sales or are you butch engineer? Oh, it's a stupid question, really, isn't it? What a stupid thing for me to say, that you are a butch engineer. You're one of those on the phone, aren't you? Good morning, British Gas. My name's Terry. How may I help you? Do you do it in a camp voice? Do you? Do you put on different accents? That's what I used to do when I worked on director inquiries to relieve the boredom of the day. Is it a boring job, Terry? Talking to them? Do you have to sell gas to people down the phone? Oh, God. You don't want to get me... Well, I don't talk to people, salesman. Step. So, oh, hello. Is that Mr. Reardon? Yes, it's Mr. Reardon. Oh, I'm ringing on behalf of... That's it. That's as far as I get. I'm ringing on. Sometimes they don't get as far as of. I'm ringing on behalf. Bang, down it's gone. Which is stupid, really, because it could be that phone call. I suppose could be a solicitor or someone like that ringing to tell me that a long-lost aunt or uncle has just died and left me a small fortune. Wouldn't it? I never thought of that. I could be throwing money away here, dear. I could have enough money to build a proper studio, you know, with cameras and lights. Something like the News 24 one with the revolving cameras that go around like that. I could just talk to you as it's revolving around me, you know, and stacks of people typing in front of computers behind me and a staircase and all that. Oh, how wonderful would that be? Eh? What would the people be typing? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it? You know, they could just be doing nothing. But I could pay them, you know, for an hour's work. I don't know, 25. If I gave them like 25 quid each, that would be good, wouldn't it? Like, look, so how many should we have? About 30 people sitting behind me, about £25 each. And I tell them, okay, all you've got to do for an hour is sit at a computer and type. And they say, well, what do you want us to type? Doesn't matter, you know, go on Facebook, do anything you like, you know, but just look busy. And I sit in the front and do my show. I like the sound of that, Terry. Terry says he is a team manager. Oh, it's a very important job, isn't it, Terry? Are you walking around feeling important when you're at work? Are you, Terry? Oh, I know people like that. They walk. Have you got a clipboard? Have you got no? Oh no, sorry, iPad. Oh, sorry, Terry, iPad. He's not got a clipboard, has he? iPad. Walking around with iPad. Someone tried to give me an iPad to do my quiz, and I couldn't get on with it. All this blooming pinching and pulling it apart and moving it up and down. Oh God, what a load of old crap that is, dear. I walk around with my clipboard and 2 pieces of paper and a little light that goes on the top because the eyesight isn't so good. And I've been to the opticians this week. I'll tell you about that later if we get time. Have you got iPad? Do you walk around with iPad, Terry? Tell us what you do. I'm dying to know. Daniel says, if you do drop dead in your house, Chris, your body will be preserved as it will freeze solid. It probably will, actually. No, not if I leave my electric blanket on. Well, it'd go off quicker, wouldn't it? That's the point. Maybe I shouldn't be using that electric blanket. It will actually go off quicker. He says, it will freeze solid within 10 minutes. And Ronnie will be able to just stand you in the corner. Oh, he wouldn't bother about it. You know, it wouldn't worry him. Not at all. I don't think he'd miss me. He's got his young thing of a boyfriend, Andy. I tried to get him on the video once, but he don't want his face to be seen. I don't know why. You know, probably in some sort of trouble with the police. That's the sort of people Ronnie goes out with now. You know, murderers, drug dealers, burglars. He's been out with them all, dear. You know, I was the only decent person he ever went out with about 22 years ago. But there you go, you know, and people say to me, you know, why did you two split up? I know, you know, the honest answer is arse dropped. You know, and no one wants to go around, you know, with a boyfriend, you know, his arse is almost touching the floor, do they? Let's be honest. So I had to get rid of him. And that's it, you know. I had to trade him in for a younger model at the time. I'm sorry, you know, I mean, call me vain, that's how it is. He had to be dumped. Arse touches the floor, goodbye, gone. You know, I can go to the gym. No, too late. You've mucked it up. Bye-bye. End of. Daniel wants to know, are the pills for your mind by any chance? No, they're not for my mind. He also says they are all bad, but British Gas are the worst. Oh, Terry, did you hear that? Someone is saying British Gas are the worst. What have you got to say to him? Please tell me. Oh, there's a phone call coming in. Now, where's that from? Well, it's international, whoever it is. Good morning. Who's calling on line 2578? Hello?
Hello.
Who's that?
It's Keith George.
Oh, hi, Keith George. Could you...
How are you?
I'm about to say this to you. Are you ready for this, Keith? Are you ready for this?
What?
Could you... Is there a radio on in the background?
That's you.
Yeah, well, could you turn it off, dear?
Turn it off, hold on.
Yes, and just have the Skype on, otherwise it's coming back to us. Do you know that? I think that's the first time I have ever said that, Keith. I'm so pleased. Could you turn your radio off in the background, Keith?
I know, well, you were on the radio. What are you doing? Are you live on the radio right now?
We are live on air at the moment. Where are you, Keith? Tell us all.
I'm in Tenerife, Mr. Chris Reardon, as you know, well know.
Yes,
It's
but
very
the
hot
millions
here
of
today,
people don't
but
know. You have to tell the millions of people that are with us this morning, dear.
Millions of people.
Millions.
The
Millions
of
all
people. I'm in Tenerife, ladies and gentlemen, and I am watching Chris as I'm right now on my iPhone 5. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to get an iPhone 5 gold thing, whatever they are.
What do you want one of those for anyway?
I haven't put my rents up yet, and I'm going to do that at the end of this month. So then I'm going to start buying things, you know.
Well, you don't want a gold iPhone, Keith. The trouble is,
I haven't got one.
You'll leave it on. You'll leave it in front of you in a toilet somewhere. That's the problem, and then you'll wish you'd never bought the thing. Just buy a nice old cheap. Just buy a cheap old £600 one, dear. They're good enough.
Well, I don't pay for them. I mean, I go to the shop and I say, "What have you got on offer?" What, you know, I have to say, the worst thing I ever did was getting a phone with internet on it and all these silly things that you can do now. I mean, all these apps, and I just feel that when you go out, and especially when I'm performing, some places you go out, everyone's on their phones.
Oh, and it annoys. They do it. Yeah, they do it on dance floors, Keith. Like you're playing your music, and I'll notice someone's either texting or doing a picture. What's that called now? A selfie. Or they're doing selfies or something like that. Some of them are actually trying to have a conversation on the phone. And I can see them struggling. So you know what I do? I turn the music up. And they've got even less chance of hearing that person on the other end of the phone.
That's it. Turn the music up and drown out their call.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is as well with these apps, I see everybody on it and I say, what are you doing? And you're on Facebook, and they say, yeah. I said, well, add me on Facebook, go to the Boy George Experience and like the page, and then send me a message or write on my wall saying, I'm in the audience, I'm the one on the iPhone, and then I'll send you a message saying how rude you are.
And the other thing I don't like is when they've got the phones.
Sorry, hold on a minute. Can you get off my leg, please? I'm on the phone. Thank you. Sorry, Chris.
Who's on your leg? Is that your dog or something?
I'm on the phone to a celebrity in the United Kingdom Radio. Stop it. If you want something, go and put yourself against a tree or something. Sorry, Chris. Go on.
Pardon? The other thing I hate is when they've got a phone, right, and say, obviously not with me, but say an artist like yourself, a singer, and they stand at the front of the stage, and this phone is right in your face, recording. And then they haven't asked permission or anything. I do hate that, dear.
I know, and they don't ask permission if they're recording you or anything like that. You know, people come up and, you know, and sometimes you get people taking secret pictures of you.
Secret pictures? What do you mean?
You know, when they're looking really genuine, they don't want to ask you to another picture. They're just doing it really sneakily. And I say, do you want a picture? And I just say, and they say, yeah. And then they take the picture, and I say, that's €20.
€20, absolutely. Do you charge more for colour ones, Keith?
Colour?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Well, if they use it on their phone, then it's their phone, isn't it? But is it cheaper for black and white ones then, or what? How do you work that then? Colour. It's colour, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
They're using their iPhones or whatever they're using.
Is it all colour?
I mean, I'm a woman, and I said to her, you can take as many pictures as you like. She must have had the oldest camera. Do you remember those cameras that used to stick the flash on the top and had 4 flashes on it? Turn around. She had one like that. I said, oh my God.
You're having a laugh.
She said, do you know what? She said she bought it about 4 weeks ago. Oh, that's coming back, dear.
The little square thing
the ones you can buy those as well, those disposable cameras.
Yes.
Them. Loads of people with them out here now.
Well, the thing is,
get rid of your iPhones and get one of them old disposable ones.
The point is, those old disposable ones, you lose it, you've only lost £4. You see, that's the thing, isn't it? I tell you what, I've been to a couple. I remember those cameras though, with the square thing on the top, and as you took a photo, the thing would revolve, wouldn't it? Another one.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's what she had. Yeah.
Yeah, but
where would she get the flash from that? I mean, if that's all coming back, I mean, it's she said it's Art Deco.
Art Deco.
I don't know. I'm sure my mum's got some of them old flash bulbs somewhere in her house.
Art Deco. I've been to weddings before, you know, where we're a little bit cheapskate, and they don't have a photographer, but they've got 2 or 3 of these disposable cameras on each table. And the bloke comes and the best man come out and announces, you know, hello, wedding, does all those speeches. And you will find 2 or 3 cameras on your table. Please feel free to use them and take as many pictures as you like, but please leave them on the tables afterwards because they are going to be the wedding pictures, which actually ain't a bad idea because them bloody wedding photographers are like over £1,000.
I know. Well, I went to a wedding and that was on it. And this was back in the days when I was this was over 10 years ago, so I was a bit of a trouble, you know. I was in those days on drugs, and I went to this wedding, and I was a little bit boisterous, and I took one of the cameras. Well, you know what I've done on one of those skiing holidays, Chris. So you can imagine what I
Keith,
and then put it back on the table.
Keith, tell us. Now, you mentioned that you were once on drugs, which I would never have said, you know, about you, because I know you as a person and all that. I wonder, would you tell us, funny how we often go on to subjects that we had no intention of going on to. Could you tell us, why did you start doing them? What was it like when you were on them? And how did you give up? And what was it that you was having? Oh, have I lost you? Oh, how annoying. Keith, I lost you. Oh, that is annoying, isn't it? I think we've lost the connection. I can't actually ring him back. Oh. He might ring back, mightn't he? That's a shame. Well, we're gonna do a whole conversation there. Never mind. Let's see if he rings back. Good morning to Marge, who's with us in Oklahoma, USA this morning. Terry H has come back and says, I manage a team of 12 people in British Gas, this is, who plan for the engineers, ensuring we have availability. That's all very boring. Oh, no, that's quite an important job, Terry. So you get the work in, and you distribute it to the other engineers, do you? Oh, that's a reasonable job. As long as you're not a salesman. We don't really like salesmen. No, I've lost Keith there. I don't think he hang up. Yeah, so we'll see if Keith comes back to us because I've lost him there. Now, where was I? Blimey, it's 20. It's nearly 12:30 already. I forgot where I was now. So I've come upstairs, got myself ready, had my shave and all that, you know, in the water from the kettle, and coming here, and by then it was like 5 to 12, and I'm rushing around. And then I realised, funny you mentioned your email there, I then realised that there was a couple of emails that I seem to have misplaced somewhere. One was from James. I know James in South East London. He sent an email in this week which seems to have gone missing somewhere. I'm sure I printed it off, but I can't find it anywhere. So James, and one from Daniel, which I thought, I haven't printed Daniel's email off, so I still haven't printed it off. I've got it up on the line here. But meanwhile, let's go to. Oh, we got another phone call here. Good morning. Who's calling?
It's me again. Chris,
oh,
sorry.
there you are.
I don't know what happened, but I was ringing from the Villa landline, but now I'm ringing from my mobile.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now, so the question was, how did I get into it, and blah blah blah.
Oh, you heard that bit? Yes, please. Yeah, if you don't mind.
I was when I was young, I was very against all kinds of drugs, and a lot of my friends used to smoke weed, and I tried it a couple of times. I just don't like it. It made me paranoid and everything. And then I was going out with a guy, and we went to. Do you remember GAY on a Tuesday or a Thursday? They used to have it.
Yes, I never went myself, but
yeah. He produced this.
This was a club, GAY. It's like a nightclub.
Yeah.
I just tell people because they don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and he produced this cocaine. And he said, "Do you want to try it?" And I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "It was cocaine." He said, it's have a line." And do you know the song? White line.
Just tell us.
My mind. Yeah, do you remember that?
Just tell us what that is. Is that like a pill or a powder?
No, powder. So
it's a powder.
I didn't know. I mean, it was the first time ever I'd ever taken anything like that in my life. No,
so,
and it was a powder.
How do you buy that? What does it look?
I didn't buy it then, but then I did learn how to buy it. later on, so you get to know, don't you? But that was the first time that I took it. But I didn't know really what I was doing, because that song, White Lines Going Through My Mind, I didn't realise it was actually referring to you actually snorting. I thought it's that when you did take it, you'd hallucinate and see white lines. That's how I didn't know enough about it.
Right.
Anyway, it did nothing for me on that occasion. And then I must have been about 23 then, and then 5 years later, being on the scene and with different sort of people. I'm not going to name anyone.
What do you mean? What do you mean by the scene? Sorry, Keith, I keep interrupting because there are people that won't know what.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
You have to explain.
Being on the
everything.
gay cabaret scene, performing in the gay clubs around London or around the country and getting to you meet people and whatever. And then one day I wasn't doing anything, and then a month later I was addicted to cocaine,
Right.
and it was all very fun and whatever, and I used to go out all the time, every night, and be completely off me nut.
Is it like being drunk?
No, in fact, you're supposed to lose weight when you take the amount I was taking. Do you remember that picture I put up a few weeks ago? Me and you. Look at the size of me. I was huge.
Oh yes, that was on the thing in Italy.
Because I was drinking lager, and actually the drug would make you feel less drunk than you were, so you could put a lot of weight. And I was like that for 4 years, I think.
Right.
About 4 years. And
did it cost a lot of money, Keith?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, a lot of money.
How much would you
A
spend
lot of money.
in, say, a day? How much would you spend a day?
Well, we would go out on a Monday to a place in Clapham Junction in Battersea to a pub called the Spread Eagle or the Falcon or whatever it was called. I think it was the Falcon. Yes, I think it was the Falcon near opposite Reardon and Knobs. And on a Monday, say in 2002, they did a pound a drink. Do you remember when the pound a drink was all in?
Yes, I remember a lot of pubs.
It was
used
a
to do
Monday
that.
club. It was from 5 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock at night, and I'd go down there with a group of people, and I'd probably spend £20 on drinks and maybe £350 to £400 on drugs.
How much?
Between £350 and £400 on drugs on one night.
And that would last the week. That's for the week, is it?
No, because I've got an addictive personality, so I'd be snorting it, leave there, then go to the Two Brewers, be off me nut in there, drinking until 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And with people going back to their houses, they love to see me come in because they knew I had everything, you know.
£400 for one night?
Yeah, in one night, yeah. And then do the same thing the next night. But obviously it wasn't a pound a drink then. It was whatever it was the drinks prices were. And, you know, going to Two Brewers, I was always in there. I remember one time I did a gig over the weekend. I think I was walking around with about 1,400 quid in my pocket on a Saturday night. And I ended up going to trade. I'd never been there before. Never, ever been there before.
Right.
And I had a great time, but I had £1,400 in my pocket. And by the end of it, I think I had about 700.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of money. And then it just spiraled out of control. And then
Did you find you had friends who would gather round whenever you had this stuff? Oh, can I have some?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's people. That's why I said I don't want to name anyone.
And then when they had it, they'd disappear.
Oh well, no, they never had it. They never bought it. You see, they never bought it, but they were always in the area. I mean, I tell you who was a rock to me, Jackie Can.
Yes. Was she your friend? Was she?
She's my best friend. Yeah.
Right.
So she was like I can remember standing talking to her, talking rubbish, absolutely. Oh yeah, I'm not doing this, and just rub it off, pinned off my head, and I'm not doing anything. And I just remember thought, why am I lying to you? Why am I lying to you? And then I was going out with a guy. You remember Tom? You remember Tom?
Tom with the jeans that were too small.
That's right. Or love.
Yes.
Yeah, well, one day I came in, obviously I'd been out all night, been all over the place, and the next day he said to me in the morning, I do love you, he said, but I don't know you. He said, underneath all this, I'm sure you're a lovely bloke, but I don't know you. And he said, I'm leaving. And I said, no, don't. I said, I'll move. And then I bought the house in Boreham Wood, and we moved out there. And though the relationship didn't last, I got clean. I mean, that was in the June. And then again, I went out on New Year's Eve and did a show at Two Brewers, saw somebody, and then they produced the drug. And then again, I used.
So you stopped. So you stopped for how long?
Nearly 6 months.
And then just one night out, a bit like smoking. Yeah. You must never ever have another cigarette once you've given up. Is it a bit like that?
Yeah. My phone's ringing. Hold on a minute.
Oh.
Sorry. Hello. No, put it down. That was it. So then I didn't. But then I didn't. Then I said to Tom, "This is the stupid things I'd do." So I got on that, and then I went home on New Year's Day with Tom, and I got on the computer and I booked a 10-week holiday to Australia on my own.
Okay.
And I'm in a relationship, and I said, well, I'm going on my own. He said, well, what about the house and what about the dog? I said, well, you can cost. We haven't discussed this. And I first class as well, Chris.
Right.
So, and then anyway, off I went, and I was in Australia, and I was in Australia, and then I sort of said I was missing Tom, so I arranged for him to fly over to meet me for 2 weeks. But obviously, I paid for him to come in economy.
I knew you were going to say that.
Which didn't go down too well. But there you go.
I tried to convince my nephew it wasn't too bad in economy when I went to when I took him to Florida, but he wasn't having any of it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And while I was in Australia without Tom, I bumped into somebody who used to be on the ski weeks, who was the dealer.
Oh no!
On the ski weeks.
This is in Australia.
Yes, in Australia, and that night went on a biggest bender, really big bender, and he kept telling people that I was Boy George. I said, I'm not Boy George. This bloke was convinced I was Boy George. I was drinking, using, blah, blah, blah. The bloke turned around and said to me, you are Boy George, give me $50. I said, listen, mate, I'm not Boy George. And I swore at him. And he said, who do you think you're talking to? And he punched me in the eye. And he cut my eye, and I've got this little scar there now. And I ended up having to go to the police station to report it because he was mentally ill, and then go to the hospital and all that. And then Tom phoned me, and he was in Singapore on the way coming down. And I said, look, when you see me, don't be shocked. I said, something's happened. I'll tell you exactly what's happened when I see you. And he arrived the next morning, and I said to him, look, I used again last night, but I'm telling you now, I'm never, ever going to be using again, ever. And from that day until this day, I haven't. And that was it. So that was the turning point for me. I thought, what am I doing? Just, change. Well, if I wouldn't have bumped into that bloke, that wouldn't have happened. But then I could have always said no. But, when you're in the moment and whatever, it's a bit hard. But I did it, and I've learned from it, and I think I've become... My mum, the first thing I did was told my mum. I said, Mum, I'm a cocaine addict. And she didn't believe me. I said, I swear to God, I am. I told her. She said, I thought it would be the last person.
Yes, that's always the case, isn't it, though?
Yeah, but funny enough, a lady messaged me last night on Facebook, and she said, how did you get clean? And she's having bad troubles and everything like that, and she's going to she wants to sell her assets to
carry on her addiction.
I said, hold on a minute. She said, have you got? She's got children, 3 children. One's 1, one's 2, and 1 is 10. And I said, well, what about your husband? Well, he doesn't know because he's slightly autistic or something. I said, well, what about your children? What about your children? You've got to do it for them, rather. She said, well, she went to an NA and they want her to go to church, but she's an atheist. And I said,
what's NA?
It's Narcotics Anonymous.
Oh, right, okay.
I never did it, because people said to me, did you do the 12-step program? And I said, no, I just knew that I had to stop to survive. I knew, otherwise I'd dead. The things I've done, Chris, driving my car off my head, smashing my car up, I could have killed someone else, let alone myself. Yeah. Driving, all over the place. I mean, eventually, this is when I wasn't doing drugs, but I drunk drove so many times. And one time I did a gig and this was a few years ago, and I was totally clean. I had, I think, 3 pints. I was just over, and the police, because the police were all right with me, they said, "Do you want to take a blood test rather than blow?" And I went, "No." And they said, "You can have a blood test, but it's going to take a couple of hours for the doctor to get here." Which they were actually saying was, "Take the blood test because you'll be all right." And I said, "No, if I'm over, and I need to be punished." I blew, and I was a little bit over, probably about 12 or something. You're allowed to blow 40, and I blew 52.
Oh, right.
So
okay,
I was 12, yeah, so, but the copper said, "No, that's what I was saying, take the blood test." I said, "No, listen, that's the wrong signal you're sending out." I said, "I drank, I was over the limits, I should know my limits, I don't know it, and I tell you what, if you'd have caught me a few years ago, I'd probably be going to prison."
Right.
So, you live and you learn, don't you? So you can't learn, but if you keep getting away with it, you're going to keep getting away with it. So,
yes,
I think the best possibility is put your hands up and say, "I'm sorry, I did it, fair cop, I got caught." That's it.
I think you're right there. The thing you said, like, if you keep getting away with it, it get worse. I think this is often the thing with younger people, where they're caught doing something. I was like, "Oh, well, don't do it again." But there was no punishment ever given. And then it gets worse. Whatever the thing is, whether it's drugs or drink or burglaries or anything like that, they're not being punished. People aren't being punished. So they do it again and again and again. It needs to be nipped in the bud straight away. And you said to this policeman, "I need to be punished for that." Well, perhaps the punishment may not have been as bad as it would have been if we were 5 years down the line and you were doing something much worse. So I do see I see where you're coming from there. I do see where you're coming from.
I went to court and I got fined heavy fine.
Can I ask how much?
And £150.
106.
Which is called £750.
And that's for drink driving on its own, yeah?
That's for drink driving on its own. Right. And I got no points, but disqualified for a year, but reduced to 9 months if I paid an extra £200 to go on this drink driving awareness course, which I did. I went on it. Yes. And I'm glad I did go on it. But then what makes me laugh is that some of these Premier League footballers that get done for drink driving, that are earning millions of pounds, get fined something like £175.
Yeah, it's not fair, is it?
It should be done. When you go to the court, you have to fill in a piece of paper with what your income is, what you do, whatever. So I was putting down what I was doing and whatever. They knew I was a Boy George impersonator and a drag queen. And I was writing everything down, and they saw what I earned, and also from my rental incomes as well. They saw what I earned, and that's how they fine you.
Right.
And when he said to me, £750 fine, I said, "Pardon?" And he said, £750 fine. And he said, "And I appreciate you do need your car." He said, "But on this occasion, and I said, fair enough, whatever. But I thought, £750.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for us. For a Premier League footballer, they should be fined, I don't know, £20,000. Yeah. Because otherwise, if it doesn't hurt, then it's in my mind. Some of these fines, when it's like that, if it doesn't hurt, then it's a revenue generator. They're just generating revenue for themselves. It's going to hurt the person.
But the thing that hurt me the most was no car. Having no car, having to travel, or even if it was, because at the time when I was living in Boreham Wood, so, which is in Hertfordshire, just on the borders of Hertfordshire and London. And
you were travelling all over the country?
I travelled all over the place. So you had to go, and sometimes the trains weren't working and it's cold, and, you just appreciate your car more. And, of course, I had a convertible BMW, and the insurance went from something like £800 to nearly £4,000.
£4,000 a year?
Yeah. And so I got rid of that car. Well, actually, I gave my mate's got it, and he's been using it, but he's been insuring it, and I've signed it all over to him. But I said to him one day, I would like the car back, and he said, "Yeah, no problem." So, but I've sort of moved on from that now, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's gone, it's done, and I've got a car now. I've just got a normal little car, an Astra, which I very use very rarely when I'm back in England. but the insurance is due on the 27th of this month, and they're wanting, my existing company want £1,400 because of the drink drive.
It just goes. So how many years ago was that then?
I've got my thing here. I'll tell you exactly when it was, because I've got the documentation. I was just looking at it just now. It was... It was the 28th of July 2009.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 5 years ago, and you're still paying for it now?
Yeah, still pay for it. 10 years. 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. That's got to be on your licence.
It affects your insurance for 10 years?
Yeah.
So that £750 fine has actually cost you more in the region of £7, £8, £9, £10,000 when you include when you include your insurance. You having to get trains, and do you have a driver? Do people drive you to places, or did they drive?
No, I don't.
You can drive now, can't you?
Oh yeah, I only got back. I took the course, so So after 9 months, I could drive.
But in that 9 months, you must have spent a few £1,000s on drivers and fares and things like that. Especially going all over. I mean, I suppose you know when you take your bookings for your artistic. Sorry, Keith.
Performances.
For your performances, yeah. Sometimes a word won't come into my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get that a lot. When you take these bookings for performances, are they like months in advance, or could they happen the next week? And the reason I ask you that is because when you weren't driving, you were having to get trains. Now, I know if I turn up to a train station now and want to go to Rugby, right, because I was standing behind someone once, trying to get a ticket to go into London, and they said, I'd like to go to Rugby. OK, when do you want to go, madam? Now. OK, £350. And this woman, this is from Bracknell, right? And the woman says, how much? £350. She said, well, how is it £350? Because you want to go now. She said, but it's cheaper for me to hire a car. And then there was other bits to this conversation, which he said, do you need to go via London? And she says, no. Oh, right. OK, £175. She said, well, how's that then? Well, you can go via Reading. Well, what bloody difference does that make? You're going to the same place, and that's just ridiculous. Anyway, back to that story. And the reason I asked you, because if you had a booking, I don't know, 10 weeks in advance, you can go on, I don't know, trainline.com and probably get that same ticket for £40.
Less than that. I mean, I was when I was in America. I wasn't sure when I was going to come back here. I hadn't booked my return. Well, I booked my return flight to come back to Tenerife, but then I was going to see my surprise mum in Marbella, and I booked that one. And I booked my flight from Marbella back to London, but I hadn't booked the flight from London back here, and I was going to come back on the Wednesday from Gatwick.
Yes.
But a couple of my friends were out here, and then they arrived on the Saturday before I was due back, and one of my friends was given between 6 and 24 months to live 25 months ago. Right. So he's gone on longer than he would. So I said, oh, okay, I'm going to come back to Tenerife on the Monday, and there was a flight from Birmingham for something like £89, where the Gatwick one was £188.
Yes.
So I said, well, let me look at that, and then I looked at the train fare from Clapham Junction to Birmingham. £12.50. So, all right, you're on a train for an hour and a half, but it don't bother me. So I booked that.
I quite like.
£12.50.
Yeah, I quite like travelling.
To go to Gatwick Airport is £11.90.
Where's that from?
Clapham Junction. Half an hour journey, £11.90.
Yeah.
Train to Birmingham, something like 6 or 7 days before, an advance fare, £12.50.
Yeah,
well, I know for a fact to get from Clapham Junction to Euston is probably about £6 anyway. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense at all, does it? And if you want to do a local journey, then you can't book in advance. Say if I was going into Waterloo, where I think it's about £16 return now. That's off peak, Keith. Yeah. Off peak, £16 return. If I think, well, I want to go to Waterloo in 3 weeks, I can't go in and say, well, I'm going in 3 weeks' time. Is it any cheaper? No. It's only on
No.
those long journeys, isn't it?
But you know what you can do? There's a site called megabus.com. Have you been on that?
On the megabus.
They also do train journeys now.
Oh, do they? Oh, I
And you
didn't
have to
know
go,
that.
yeah,
Let me
you have to
make...
book it in advance and
Yeah.
go on the particular time train. So the megabus do that.
Oh, I'll
And
have
it's
to look
in
that up.
conjunction with Southwest Trains. Are you on that route? Southwest route?
Southwest, yes, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it is Southwest.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I'll have to make a note of that. I want to go into London at some point because I want to. I have Fridays off at the moment, and I'm thinking I might like to go into London on a Friday and do some museums. And I want to go to the Science Museum. And what's the other thing? I wanted to take my camera. You know that I have a half-hour warm-up before I start the show, and I want to
Yeah.
I want to go to Big Ben and set up the camera on Big Ben for that 11:30 to 12. And then
Yeah.
make a video out of that. So I do want to go in. I'll check that out then. Because I'd rather do that than all that blooming buggering around parking. And then £10 congestion charge. And then parking, well, that's another £10. And that's 20 quid. You know, £6 or £7 to use to get in there. And you're looking at like 30 quid before you've ever even done anything, you know.
I know, but you've got to remember, because it's for your work, totally tax deductible, dear.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, of course. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. Keith, how long have you been off all the... do you have a little drink now and again now, or what?
I only drink. I don't drink wines or spirits generally. I don't. I drink champagne or lager.
Yes. Champagne.
And,
Oh, you got a few of those in the
only
fridge, have
champagne. Yeah, I love champagne, and I drink lager. And out here, it's you know, it can be quite difficult not to you know, when you're walking along, you fancy a drink. Or I'll have a Sprite or whatever, €2.
Yes.
Or you can have a pint of lager for €1.
Right.
So when the sun's shining, like yesterday, I had my. Did you have your fish lunch for
No, I
Friday?
don't. I'm vegetarian, am I? I don't have fish either.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, yesterday, because obviously it was Good Friday, I went out and as I do every Good Friday.
I tell you what.
Had my fish.
Yeah. Good. We used
And
to have.
I couldn't drink wine. I don't drink wine. I had a pint of lager.
Right.
And I said to the good Lord, good Lord, I know I shouldn't be drinking red wine here, but if you knew how this taste, you'd have a bit yourself. So, you know.
He has got a sense of humour. I know he has. How long have you been off the drugs now, Keith?
I stopped in. I think I've just celebrated 9 years.
Very good.
9 years it's been. 9 years since I've not
that's
used
it.
anything at all.
Well done.
No,
Yeah,
someone
well
did. Someone thought they were being very funny, and I went to their house, and they gave me. They said, "Oh, do you want a cup of tea?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Do you want a couple of cookies?" And I said, "Oh, all right." And so I had this cookie, and they'd laced it with some sort of cannabis or weed or whatever, and I didn't, you know, I
thought
went mental. I said, "How dare you do that to me?" You know.
Well, yeah, you would do. Well, I thought you
ridiculous.
smoked that stuff. Don't you smoke it?
I don't smoke. No.
No.
You can cook. Because you know they make like space cakes and everything like that.
Oh, right, yes. What's
Some
in
people
those?
do these. Space cakes is the same thing that they put like cannabis in or whatever, weed or hash or whatever. I don't really know what goes into it, but
Right.
they put it in this cookie, and all of a sudden I said, I just thought, and I knew that they smoked. I said,
Yes,
you put something
yes.
in that, ain't you? And you can't do nothing because I can't even, you know. I don't know how people drive their car.
Can
with
you
it.
what did you do? Did you make yourself sick or something to get rid of it, or is it once it's in the system?
There's nothing you can do.
That's in straight away, is it? Yeah. Keith,
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go now because we've only got a couple of minutes left. Thank you very
Okay,
much for
mate,
sharing
lovely
that
talking.
story. And you might want to.
Speak to you soon.
I was going to say you might want to show your friends this particular show. It'll be up.
Yes, I will do.
The
I'll share it.
recording will be up round about 5 o'clock. Okay, so I'll put one on your wall.
Okay. Do.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you,
Really
love. Have a
appreciate
lovely
that.
weekend. Happy Easter to you and all your lovely listeners.
Thank you. Ta-da, Keith.
All 6 of them. Bye-bye.
There we are, Keith in Spain. There. Well, it's funny this show, isn't it? You start off with your list of things here, and I'm never quite sure what's going to happen. I do prepare the show, but I don't have a piece of paper telling me what the order is or anything like that. and then you can have a phone call come in like that, or a message, or a Facebook message, or an email, or anything like that, and it takes a completely different direction. I thought we were going to be quite humorous, and it turned into a serious show about drugs. And how brave for someone to ring up, and he didn't have to tell us any of that, you know, but it was mentioned while we were having a conversation, and then we got onto it. How brave of that person to do that and come out, and how wonderful to know that this was 9 years ago since he sorted himself out. What a fantastic call, possibly the best phone call I've had in the nearly 8 or 9 years of doing this programme. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well done, Keith, says Daniel. Now, Daniel, yes, I did get your email about the central heating system, which I appreciate. However, I'm almost out of time today, Daniel. I could rush through it, or I could hold it on. I'll tell you what, I'll do your email as Monday's show, if that's all right, Daniel. You don't mind, do you? As Monday's short video. Okay, because we're nearly out of time now, boys and girls. I've got to sing happy birthday to someone this morning as well. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Wendy. Happy birthday to you. Yes, it's Wendy's birthday today, a great Barry Manilow fan, and Wendy today is, I think, 46. Happy birthday, Wendy. Only less than 4 weeks to go now before Barry Manilow arrives in the UK, and I'm lucky enough to go and see him twice. Anyway, that's it for the show today. Thank you very much, boys and girls, for watching. I'll see you again next Saturday at 12 o'clock UK time, live. If you want to know where to find us for that, go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Look at the very top there, and that will give you the link. And the short videos, daily short videos, you'll find at youtube.com/Chris Reardon UK. Have a lovely Easter, okay? Easter night tonight, and Easter Sunday tomorrow, the end of Lent. And I've got a very large bag of cheese and onion crisps waiting for me, because I've had no crisps for 5 weeks. Just the one bag, you mind. Thanks for watching and listening. See you soon. Bye-bye.